credits set.
Let's go?
Guys, get out of my shop.
All right, we're good to go here. Najir here, San Diego Comic-Con. I am with the one and only. I'm going to make sure I pronounce your name correctly.
Jamie Gray Hyder.
That's right, who plays Hawkgirl in the new Green Lantern animated movie, which premieres tonight at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, I have got to see a little bit of this film, and I got to say your performance is very strong, very stern. What was it like stepping into Hawkgirl and really making it your character?
You know, with a character like Hawkgirl who's been around for 80 years, she was originally created in the DC Universe in 1941, which is very unique to have such a strong female lead that far back. So it's a mix of trying to honor history and honor the performances that have come before while also making it your own. So it's trying to find a balance that makes the fans happy and satisfies you as a creative person. But I'm honored to take on something with such history and a little nervous.
Well, I got to say, as I said, some of it I've seen, very good performance, looking forward to more. But that character, the journey in this film with the character, what would you say you could prepare the fans for in terms of her arc?
Well, you know, we all know the kind of badass warrior side of Hawkgirl, but in this film, she finds herself having to join a team with people that typically are her enemy. Yeah. So you watch her have to break down that wall a little bit in realizing that she has a common goal with her enemy. And I think that's a great message in life generally, that we all generally have something in common. And if you take time to try and understand one another, you can solve problems a whole lot easier, I think.
All right. Well, you heard it there. Make sure you check it out. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Take care.
Hi, how are you?
Bottle.
Gimme.
I got it. Our Hawkgirl, you got 5. Make him go.
Hi, everyone. What's going on?
I just have to know. I mean, I tried to.
That's a great question. I think that they approached me and asked if I wanted to do it. You feel right for it in that case, right? It's nice when you think they already know. Well, I had heard of Hawkgirl, but I didn't know anything about her specific story. So when I started doing my research and I realized that she was actually created in 1941, I was shocked. The fact that DC was creating these badass female characters 80 years ago when we're struggling to see that represented now was really mind-blowing for me. And with that said, I immediately felt an immense sense of pride and an immediate sense of dread at the same time, because you know there are people who've been living with this character in their world for years before I was ever a name in anyone's mouth. And that gives you a great sense of responsibility, but it can be a little bit nerve-wracking as well.
So what's your approach to the character, like, you know, just taking on this role, and you know, now that you know some of that, and then when you saw your lines, I mean, was it all directing? Did you like add your own flavor to it?
You kind of take from what has happened in the past and you find the commonalities there and you keep those. And then as a creative, selfishly, you want to put your own spin on something so you can have ownership and really dedicate yourself to the performance. But again, in a world like DC where the fans have opinions and they have all the information at their disposal and they already have expectations, it can make it also a little bit scary. But in general, I think I've done her justice.
Yeah, you see yourself cosplaying as Shire going forward now, coming next Comic-Con, now that you're officially on the roll?
I'm gonna need the year to make my abs look like that. She flatters me, let me see.
Have you seen the other animated versions of this character?
I have. I tried not to watch any actual performances, but I did sort of look at a lot of the history, because if you watch an actual performance, you run into the possibility of emulating or kind of mimicking something else. And then as an actor, you're not as invested. So for me, it was like trying to figure out her core traits and then figuring out how to bring it into 2022 and tell the messages in a way that this audience will appreciate them, you know?
Did you feel that also as kind of like coming in here, a woman of color?
Well, I was really excited when I learned that she has origins in ancient Egypt in a lot of her backstory. And I'm Lebanese. So kind of being from that region, I feel like it brings a little bit of an exotic nature, a little mysticism to it. And I think that shows up in Hawkgirl and the way that she speaks. She's a bit regal. Everything is very deliberate and it's a bit otherworldly, you know? And for me, it was about trying to kind of explore that.
So I'm curious, I don't know if you can talk about this too much. There have been some interpretations of your character, and forgive me, but where she was essentially second fiddle to Hawkman or someone else. How would you describe your interactions? Because obviously this is a much different take of a stronger, more independent solo Hawkgirl. Mm-hmm. How does she interact with the other characters, you would say?
I think if you treated her like arm candy, she'd treat your arm like candy. I think that she'd just chew you up and spit you out. It was really important to me to base it in reality, you know, to think about the women who are in the armed forces who are actively doing what Hawkgirl is doing in the film, right? Someone who's there to protect their people, their country, someone who's sacrificing their life. So for me, when you have these larger-than-life characters, it's really important to ground them in that type of humanity. So that was something that I considered a lot while doing her, was that I didn't want her to be a set piece, you know. She comes in and she is the one herding these cats and making sure everyone knows what the mission is and keeping them moving forward while they have their banter. She's like, okay, enough, we gotta go, you know. And I appreciate that she's a woman of action. I think that is really powerful.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a good question. I think that my character Kat and SVU and Hawkgirl probably have similar motivations. You know, they're out there risking their lives and dedicating their time to making sure everybody else is okay. You know, and often those characters don't leave a lot of room for themselves. So with Hawkgirl, I think in the future it'd be lovely to see her softer side, you know, and kind of get into that. But between Hawkgirl and Kat, you know, I think that they're both badass females who aren't easily intimidated, and they're mission driven, and so it's really hard to deter somebody when that's their goal, you know?
How do you handle heights? Like if you had to actually fly, could you handle that? Like jumping off a building with wings?
I feel like the idea of standing on a tall building and looking down sounds terrifying, but the idea of flying sounds amazing. So I think that it would be, I would love to actually have wings and to fly, you know. I have a little fear of heights, but I think that it's different on that scale. I've been in small jets, things like that, and I feel like, I'm like, this must be what she feels like, you know. So I think I could handle it.
So you said Hawkgirl is basically she's focused on really big action. So is she gonna
I think she thinks she's the leader of the Justice League because she's the leader of her own domain. I think that, but I don't think she's motivated by leadership because I don't think she wants the burden of that. She's like, let me go do the work. I'm not trying to talk to you guys about this, you know? And that's what makes this iteration nuanced in this film and keeps her from being one note, is that she is forced to work with other people who are different from her, who are her enemies in some cases. And I think that's a great lesson overall, is that you have to find common ground with people in order to solve problems. And you kind of have to take that wall down. So to see her go from her entrance of just smashing things for 3 minutes to having to slow down, listen, and have a human moment with people, that brings some nuance to otherwise a character that could just kind of be one note.
Do you find that there's many similarities between yourself and this character, or is it something that you sort of are able to imagine within yourself?
I like being physical. Like, I love, when I work out, I do a lot of fight workout, you know. I like being aggressive. I like being physical. I'm also stubborn as hell. I'm like, I need your help. I can do this. I'll figure it out, you know? And so we're alike in that way. I would say our biggest difference is that she is very measured, and she uses few words, gets her point across, and I'm definitely more of a rambler, you know?
We have to go. I'm sorry. We are out of time. Completely out of time.
Dude.
Do you want to miss the golf carts? Do you want to change? Do you want to get over and see the movie?
Do you want me to do the panel?
Give it to me. Come on. Come on. Hit me. Hit me. Hit me.
I don't have my mace. Thank you guys so much. Nice to meet you.
If I wanted to get beaten by